Many people think that they have a confidence problem, but a lot of times it actually has to do with more of an approval problem. And it shows up in ways you might not even notice until you realize that you've built your life around being easy to accept. Welcome to another episode of She's Probably Talking to Other Guys. I'm your host, Annie of the Banana Diaries, and I'm so excited to dive into this topic with you. Just a friendly reminder, I'm not a therapist, psychologist, or expert in human behavior. This is a judgment-free, assumption-checking zone. Take what resonates and leave the rest. Let's talk about how this tends to start and how it tends to show up in life. And I am right here with you. I have gone through this myself. A lot of times we want to be liked. We want people to like us, whether it's in a romantic or working or just everyday capacity. There's a natural desire to want to be liked by other people. Some people see it as a survival strategy. Some people are really not good with confrontation, so it's just easy to feel that they're liked versus wondering why they're disliked. A lot of times, people can learn to read the room easily, so it's more of a defense mechanism. They're kind of preparing themselves for how they should act in the room that they're currently in. A lot of people think that if they are easy, or we'll use the phrase not difficult, even though I freaking hate the word difficult, it helps them to avoid rejection. And sometimes it just kind of gives you this feeling that you have some harmony in the group that you're with, or whoever you're with, or whoever you feel like you're just trying to get along with. And sometimes people feel that it's more of a way for safety, whether it's emotional safety, whatever it might actually be in terms of that. A lot of times we self-blame when it comes to this. Sometimes it does happen where you didn't choose this version of you. You stepped into it for the context of your situation. I stepped into it without even realizing that I did, like years ago. And we'll dive more into that as we go through. Let's talk about how this quietly takes over. So, whether you see it as not being difficult, or you see it as just you want everything to be smooth sailing all the time, you don't want any confrontation in your life, things like that. Whatever your reason is your reason. There is no right or wrong here. So, a lot of times, maybe you soften your opinion before sharing them. That could be how it kind of quietly starts to develop. You edit your tone depending on who's listening. You kind of pre-agree to things, or you just agree to things to avoid any kind of tension. You become, quote, like low maintenance, end quote, just so that way people keep choosing you. Again, for whatever the reason may be, if it's work related, personal, whatever it might be. The initial thought tends to be that if we're low maintenance and we're kind of easy peasy, like go with the breeze kind of people, follow the crowd kind of people, we feel that it makes life easier and we'll have to like deal with less drama in the long run. So a lot of times this is where it can begin. Again, I can't possibly list all of the reasons. We would be here for forever, which I wouldn't be opposed to, but you start to perform likability without realizing that you've kind of abandoned your true self elsewhere. Talk about the hidden costs that maybe we don't realize, or maybe that we don't hear out loud that often. And again, I can talk about this from a personal perspective. I think now people tend to describe me more as opinionated and bold and unfiltered, and she's going to say what she's going to say kind of thing. And I would agree with that. I think that there are so many times where either I wanted to say something or I didn't, or I wanted to voice my opinion, but I had been constantly shut down in the past. So it did just become easier to not say anything. It did kind of just become easier to be a wallflower. There were times where, yeah, I did speak up about how I felt about certain things, and people did treat me like I was being difficult. People called me difficult, which I never appreciate. And I never feel that when you share your opinion that you're difficult. It's your opinion. And it has nothing to do with you. Maybe it's the other people who just can't handle what your opinion is. But I think that the hidden cost is you'll find yourself, and again, maybe not in your situation, in mine, you might find yourself in circles that you actually want nothing to do with. You'll find yourself surrounded by people where you actually realize, like, wait, no, I actually don't like you. And I don't want to be around you. Like, I don't want my life to look anything like yours. So why am I around you so much? Sucks to be them, I guess, in their mind. But again, that's how I felt at one point. I was around a lot of people where I realized I was like, I do not want my life to look like this. Like, my life should not be anything similar to what theirs is. Like, I don't want it to be. And I needed to walk away. Maybe you constantly feel misunderstood in relationships that like you almost curated yourself for approval. So now you're wondering, well, how am I actually going to say what I feel when this person thought I agreed with them the entire time? So now it's almost a more awkward situation because you've been agreeing with this person the whole time. And now you're like, wait a minute, I actually really don't agree with you. And it's time that I tell you that. So again, you're going to find yourself surrounded by people that always thought of you as one way or always thought of, oh, well, she's going to agree with me. She always agrees with me, right? Until one day you don't. And again, is that person going to feel the same way about you when you start to disagree with them? Can this person have a mature conversation with you and kind of talk out why you disagree with them? Or is it going to turn into something where they start calling you difficult and labeling you because you disagree all of a sudden? When in reality, you disagreed the whole time. You just didn't say anything. You attract people who bond with your manageable version. There are so many people who still come up to me from, I'm going to call it that era, and they think that I'm the same person. And I'm just not, in the best way possible. Like, I love that I'm not. But again, I do fully admit that, yeah, that is what I was doing because I was so uncomfortable when disagreements would happen, or because I was so tired of being labeled as difficult or being pushed aside for opportunities because they just wanted people who would agree with them. They didn't want people who would speak up and challenge them in any way. They just wanted people who are going to make them feel good about themselves, brush their egos, things like that, which I am not about that life. So you tend to attract people who like that version of you. What is it? You are what you attract. Is that the phrase? And again, sometimes you're going to realize that you're attracting things that you don't want. And maybe it's not all you. Trust me, I know. It's not all me sometimes that I attract some weirdness into my life. But again, then I have to take a deep look inside and be like, okay, well, why is this happening? Like, what did I do or what did I say that this is coming into my life now? Things like that. I think another hidden cost that's very important is resentment. And maybe it's more resentment, like kind of like towards yourself and being mad at yourself for, well, why did I waste all those years doing that? And one, you can't beat yourself up for it. You did what you did in the moment with the information that you had. And yeah, it sucks. Trust me. Mine lasted for well over a decade, okay? So if you want to sit there and think about how much time you wasted, yeah, you're not alone. But at the same time, are you going to sit there and waste more time? Or are you going to do something about it? Are you going to make a change? Are you going to think, okay, well, now that I recognized exactly what was happening, what am I going to do to move forward? And yes, that's what I did. And yeah, it was really hard. It was not easy. I am lucky to have my best friend that I have had since we were in preschool together. Like, I am so lucky to have her and her family, and then some other amazing people that have entered my life along the way. Because it did take me time to kind of, if I say curate, I don't mean it in like a bad way. I mean it in like intentionally choosing. It took me time to rebuild my circle. Right. And recently, on top of it, I lost someone who was in my circle who I thought was going to be there for literally my whole life. So I think that it's just about adapting and it's thinking, okay, well, when I make this decision, is this because I want that decision? Like, is this going to take me towards my goals? Like, is this decision good for me? Not good for anyone else. Because we fall into the trap of making decisions that are easy for everyone else. I sit back sometimes and I think about if I had just kept being a yes person and a very agreeable person, how different my life would be right now. And I think at this point, I could literally exchange the word different for miserable. I would be fucking miserable if I didn't start speaking up for myself and making changes for my life the way I wanted my life to go. So, you can't feel fully seen in a life that you've edited. And I think that that is so important for you to understand and to think about. Maybe it doesn't make sense in this moment, but as time goes on, maybe it starts to make sense. If you're constantly editing your life just so other people can have what they want, are you ever going to get what you want? And I am going to be cheesy for a minute, and I am going to say, YOLO, you only live once, right? Do you want to spend your shot just doing everything so everyone else is happy, or are you going to be happy? And if you are someone who is very happy making other people's happy, that's not what this conversation is about. This is probably your moment to pause the episode and realize that this conversation's not for you and not in a bad way. There are so many ways that I love making people happy, but it's not the same as what we're talking about here. I love a good assumption, and I don't mean good in like a I love this assumption kind of way. These are pretty shitty assumptions. Um, but that's what this podcast is all about. So let's dive in. So disagreement will cost me connection. And you know what? It will with the wrong people. The right people will have a mature conversation with you about why you're disagreeing. And the real people, the right people for your life, will still be with you or still choose you, even if you don't agree on something. And I feel like that's so underrated. A lot of people think that, oh, well, we can't possibly like hang out or we can't possibly share any aspect of our lives together because we disagree on this topic. Like, I find that to be absolute BS. There are so many people that I get along with where we literally disagree on so much stuff, but at the end of the day, we respect each other's opinions enough that we can still get along and still be friends. Like, I do not have to agree with everyone that I hang out with. Everyone is old enough to make their own decisions and have their own opinions about things in their lives. So, disagreement will cost you connection with the wrong people. And that's okay. This is something that I have become okay with. When I meet people, I kind of realize, okay, you are totally not my cup of tea. And either I decide, but you know what? I think that we could find some even ground. And then for other people, I'm like, it's not even worth it. We're not even going to attempt to keep this connection because why? Up next, my true self is too much or not enough. you need to be yourself. That is literally in my Instagram bio at the Banani Diaries. Being yourself is greater than any aesthetic. And I truly believe that. I don't water myself down for anyone. I don't try to, I guess we could say, spice myself up as if I could be more spicy to anyone. I think it's just so important that you be yourself. That's something that I'll always be passionate about. Relationships are maintained by being easy. Absolutely not. Like, I don't want to call anyone a liar, but I don't know that I would believe someone if they told me that their relationship was easy 24/7. I would find that very hard to believe. I mean, I think that there are people who are best friends, but at the end of the day, I think that there are going to be hard moments for everyone. I don't know that I would necessarily believe that everyone is just easy, smooth sailing. If I'm misunderstood, I did something wrong. No, and I actually did a post about this the other day in no relation to me filming this episode. I posted about how there are just some people who are committed to misunderstanding you. And I am 100% a believer in that. I think that there are people who are just constantly, whether they're not happy for you or whether they just don't like to see you succeed, whatever it might be, there are people who will not understand you ever. And it's not because of you. It's nothing that you did wrong. There are people who are going to know that you are absolutely fucking amazing. And those other people are going to say the opposite. And it's not because you did anything. It all comes down to them at the end of the day. Other people's reactions are a reflection of my worth. Absolutely not. No. Absolutely not. You are worth so much, and to let someone else define that for you, no way. That is not the energy I'm around for. That's not the energy I'm here for. I would never support that energy to let you think that someone else gets to judge your worth. You get to judge your worth. And I hope that you see yourself as someone who is worth a lot, because you are. Last one. Being liked is more important than being known. I don't like that assumption at all. I would rather be disliked by certain people and actually be myself than be liked and not be myself. That's just where I stand on that. And if it wasn't clear earlier in the episode, now you know. I think that at this point in my life, like, I don't care who doesn't like me. If you don't like me, that's okay. Like, let's not hang out. That's fine. I'm good. For me, I'm always going to prioritize doing things and participating in things and hanging out with people who make me feel good. If you make me feel shitty about myself, I am not going to spend time with you. And if you don't like me because of that, that's on you. It doesn't bother me. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Let's discuss the breaking point for a moment, because I had mine where I couldn't take it anymore. And then I started saying no and I started speaking my opinions. And then people were getting frustrated with me. And at the end of the day, I had to remember that I had to step out of whatever was happening, because I had like zero control over where I was going in my life if I just kind of kept floating along. So if your goal, let's just use this as an example, is to be fully yourself and to be chosen, you need to take a look around your circle and see that, can you be yourself with these people? Can you speak your mind with these people? And will they choose you? And not choose you in like a, you're going to be on my dodgeball team kind of choose you. It's, will they be there to support you? Will they have mature adult discussions with you, understanding why you feel the way that you feel? Or is this person just going to come around and say, oh, well, that's stupid? Because I was with someone the other day who literally did that. And it was a great reminder for me of why they are not in my life anymore. It just happened to be a run-in with this person. And like, I tried to see if there was any wiggle room for, maybe since time has passed, if we could possibly establish some type of working relationship anymore. And just that whole, oh, well, that was stupid. Like, that was, among other things, that was just a great reminder that I made a good decision in the past and that this is not something that I want in my life. Authenticity can repel people and attract people at the same time. It's kind of what I love about it, actually. I feel like maybe it's like a secret love that I have about being myself, is that you'll see that there are some people who stick around, people who have been with you the whole time, and people who are brand new on your journey. And you'll see that there are people who stand by you when you are yourself, people who love you when you are yourself. And then there are people who are literally going to repel away from you because they can't handle you or whatever their reason is. Don't feel bad. They're not meant to be in your circle. That's how I think of it as. I'm like, okay, well, if my happiness offends you, then I don't want you in my circle anyway. And that's not on me because I didn't do anything. Alignment with yourself, sometimes you want to think about this, is greater than approval. And that's how I feel, especially after making decisions to leave and move forward and do my thing. I wanted to be myself more than anything, and I'm so happy that I made that decision. But again, all of this is so internal, and you really need to think about what you're trying to achieve in your life and where you're going to go. And are your current decisions taking you towards your goal or kind of steering you off somewhere else? Let's give you some thoughts just to go over in your mind as we close this episode. So, why are you agreeing with people when you actually don't agree with them? Who would react differently if you were fully honest? And where do you feel slightly edited in your own life? The version of you that needs to be liked is not the version that builds real connection. It's the version of you that avoids rejection at all costs. And at some point, that cost becomes everything. If I could leave you with a personal note, I'm so happy since I made the decision to just unapologetically be myself. The decision was not easy. It was not an easy road, but I have been happy since then. And at the end of the day, I have come to realize how important being happy with yourself is. Thank you for tuning into another episode of She's Probably Talking to Other Guys. I truly love this community that has grown, and I'm so excited for you to connect on social media. You can find us at spttog podcast. You can tune in on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Video episodes are also available on Spotify and YouTube.